We talked about subjects. We talked about predicates. Now let's talk about complements. So, if you want to learn English grammar, stay tuned. Hi everyone, my name is Liam and this is Grammar Simple, the channel that makes English grammar simple. Okay, today we have a video about complements, specifically about objects, direct objects and indirect objects. All right, let's get started. All right, the parts of a sentence, complements. Let's begin. At the end of my last video about subjects and predicates, if you haven't seen that video, watch it here. I gave you this example. He received an expensive and hard to find PlayStation 5 for his birthday. And I asked you this question. What do we call this part of the sentence? In orange, an expensive and hard to find PlayStation 5. It wasn't the subject. It wasn't the predicate. So what is it? Well, stay tuned for the answer coming later in the video. Okay, let's begin. To write and speak correct sentences in English, it is important to know the parts of a sentence and how they function and fit together. This video will look closely at two parts of a sentence that need to fit together: verbs and complements. In English, a complement is the part of the predicate that completes the meaning of the verb. The verb does something. What does the verb do? And what does the verb do it to? This video will look closely at two types of complements: direct objects and indirect objects. Remember that in English, a sentence needs to express a complete thought. This is going to be a quick review. What is meant by the idea, a complete thought? Well, a sentence must do two things. Number one, a sentence must identify what or whom you are speaking about. This is the subject. Every sentence needs a subject. If you don't have a subject, you don't have a sentence. And number two, a sentence must say something about that subject, that person, thing, or idea. Or it can be a place too. A place is a thing. For example, she spoke. It's correct. It's a complete thought. He runs. It's correct. They read. It's also correct. These sentences are very short and very simple. They do not contain much information. However, they are complete thoughts. Why? They tell us who the subject is. She spoke. The subject is she. And they tell us about the subject, what the subject does. In this case, what the subject did do or does do. The verb. She spoke. They read. But some verbs do not always need more information. The verbs we just looked at. The verb is enough on its own for a really simple sentence. However, sometimes it is not so easy because sometimes verbs need help. Before the sentence they are in can express a complete thought. What do I mean by this? Well, let's look at an example. Is this a complete thought? She takes. Okay. When you read, she takes, what might you be thinking to yourself? What do you ask yourself? She takes. She takes what? For me, I ask myself the question, what is it that she is taking? What does she take? We need something that is taken. She takes something. Now, take is a very general verb in English. It has many different meanings. So the verb takes needs a complement. For example, she takes music lessons. She takes English classes. She takes vitamins. She takes the bus. She takes showers, not baths. Understand? Now it's more clear. Now let's look at direct objects. Direct objects are one type of complement. Direct objects complete the meaning of verbs expressing action. She takes music lessons. This is an action verb. Direct objects tell us what or whom is receiving the action. So the subject does the action, the direct object receives the action. She is the subject, takes is the action, music lessons is receiving the action. See if you can identify the direct object in the following examples. James closed his laptop. We have the verb, closed. This is the action. What did he close? His laptop. The laptop receives the action. Another example. He looked at the cookie in front of him. Looked is the verb. It's the action. And cookie receives the action. What did he look at? The cookie. Cookie. He didn't eat it. Didn't eat is the action, and it, the cookie, is receiving the action. It took all of his willpower not to eat it. This one is more difficult. What do you think? Okay, took is the action. Willpower receives the action. Willpower means his ability to resist something. So it's not a tangible noun. Willpower is intangible. It's an idea. It's a state of being. So a direct object does not always have to be a tangible object. For example, I gave him a gift. This is tangible. A gift, a present, it's a object that exists in reality. I can touch it, right? Tangible, you can touch it. I gave him a piece of my mind. Well, this is intangible. It does not exist in reality. I can't touch it. What is a piece of my mind? Well, this is an expression. A piece of my mind means to speak angrily to someone about something they have done wrong. You give him your angry opinion about him. One more example. The thieves stole cash, clothes, and jewelry from the department store. Okay, what is the direct object? Okay, the action, the verb, is stole, and there are 3 direct objects: cash, clothes, jewelry. They all receive the action. The thieves stole 3 things. Yes, there can be more than one direct object at a time. Understand? Now let's talk about indirect objects. Indirect objects also complete the meaning of verbs expressing action. But they are different from direct objects in a couple of ways. Number 1, indirect objects almost always precede a direct object. Indirect objects almost always precede direct objects. What does precede mean? Precede means go before. So indirect objects almost always go before a direct object. And number two, indirect objects show us to whom or for whom the action is done. To whom or for whom the action is done. Not what or whom is receiving the action. That is the job of the direct object. For example, I gave him a gift. This was our previous example. The action is gave, and the gift receives the action. What did I give him? A gift. I gave him a gift. So gift is the direct object of gave. But what about him? Him is the indirect object. Remember the rule. Indirect objects almost always precede a direct object. Him goes before gift. Precede means go before. And remember the rule. A complement is the part of the predicate that completes the meaning of the verb. So, what was given? A gift. Direct object. And remember the rule. Indirect objects show us to whom or for whom the action is done. So, to whom was the gift given? Him. The gift was given to him, the indirect object. Now let's see if you can identify the indirect object in the following examples. Are you ready? The company paid Natasha $80,000 for her first year. Do you have your answer? Let's go through it together. What is the verb? The verb is paid. What was paid? Dollars. Therefore, what is the direct object? Dollars. And to whom was the money, the dollars, paid? Natasha. Therefore, what is the indirect object? Natasha. Easy, right? Another example. Can you please hand me that pen on the desk? What is the indirect object? Well, what is the verb? Hand. Hand means pass. Can you please pass me that pen on the desk? It's the same. What is to be passed? What is to be handed? Pen. Therefore, what is the direct object of the verb? Pen. And to whom should the pen be handed? Passed. Me. Therefore, what is the indirect object? Me. Finally, let's look at the example from the last video. What do we call this part of the sentence? An expensive and hard to find PlayStation 5. Well, what is the verb? Received. He received an expensive and hard to find PlayStation 5 for his birthday. What is to be received? PlayStation 5. Therefore, what is the direct object? PlayStation 5. But what about all of this other information about the PlayStation 5? An expensive and hard to find PlayStation 5. Well, the adjectives expensive and hard to find give us more detail about the specific PlayStation 5 he received. That he was given. An expensive and hard to find PlayStation 5. This is the direct object, and this is a noun phrase. So, the name of this here is a direct object phrase. Yeah. A direct object phrase is also a complement. It's a type of direct object. But that's enough crazy English for one day. Let me know your questions and comments down in the comments section. I hope you learned something about complements. Stay tuned for my next video. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a friend. My name is Liam. This is Grammar Simple, the channel that makes English grammar simple. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.